Welcome to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 122. This episode is sponsored by Aged Selects, providing cigar enthusiasts with the premium long filler cigars aged at least 5 years at an extraordinary price. Order online at cigarfrontier.com. And by Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop, located right here in Rhode Island. They have an outstanding selection of premium handmade cigars. And by the Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo. And by A.J. Fernandez Cigars, handcrafted in Nicaragua using the finest materials. Brands include the San Latano, Pinolero, and A.J.'s recently released New World brand. Visit them on the web at ajfernandezcigars.com. And by Debonair Cigars. Visit stogiegeeks.com/debonair for a list of retailers who carry Debonair. Buy some today and get a little more Debonair. And by Ocean State Cigars. Try the J. Grotto series, including the Connecticut Shade Silk and the new J. Grotto Anniversary series. Visit them on the web at oceanstatecigars.com. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. Very, very, very excited about tonight's show. I can't wait to introduce the cigar we're smoking. But before I do that, I'm going to turn it over to Will in North Carolina. And what did you call it, Will? Studio C? Is that?
Yes, we're now going to call our North Carolina operations Studio C.
Studio C.
And you'll be seeing some real exciting equipment upgrades on both the North Carolina and the Rhode Island end.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're already looking much better. But then again,
I got
you're
light.
Bill Cooper,
Yeah, this is the beginning. We haven't put the new cameras in and mics yet.
That's
so
right.
That's coming.
It's awesome. Well,
very soon it's coming.
Technology aside, I'm excited about cigars tonight as well as technology. Yeah. And do we have anything to do before we have to announce our guests and all that stuff? Or do we have any?
No, I think we're going to get right into our interview with our guests, Chris and Kyle from Ezra Zion Cigars. This segment's actually going to be sponsored by Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop.
Yeah, and they have an event on January 5th with Mike Herkelotz from Nat Sherman.
Yep.
I got an email about that, so I wanted to mention that if you're in the Rhode Island area early next year on Monday, January 5th, they're doing an event. I am planning on attending that event, and more details forthcoming. At the very least, I'm going to attend that event because I really want to go, because I believe Mike is going to do some kind of blending seminar, is what the email alluded to, and I've heard great things about the Nat Sherman blending seminars. I'm very excited about that.
Excellent.
Okay, well, let's get right into it. I want to welcome back to the show Kyle and Chris from the Ezra Zion Cigar Company. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Do you guys have more?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, do you guys have more facial hair than last time, or is that? Did you guys have a appropriate amount of? Chris, your facial hair definitely has grown since the last time we've spoken. No, maybe not.
Yeah, well, you know, it goes through its cycles. It goes through its cycles. Don't listen to Kyle. He has beard envy, but you know it's all good. You know he's
nice.
He's wearing his Duck Dynasty starter kit, you know, over there, and so it looks pretty good.
I wish I could see that part.
Yeah, you guys look awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hey, that hormone therapy is working, man.
Working. There you go.
I want to talk about what we're smoking tonight. Will and I have lit up. It's a box pressed Lancero. It is the Tantrum, and I tell you what, I just lit it up, and I'm excited about it.
It's a Lonsdale. Is it Lonsdale or Lancero? It's a Lonsdale, right?
I'm calling it a. Well, you know what? Why don't you guys tell us, because it's your cigar.
It's whatever you need it to be.
Yeah, you never want to offend your host. So, you know, Lonsdale Lancero, it's a 7x44 Prensado pressed piece of all Nicaraguan goodness. So let's just leave it at that and let's enjoy it.
I tell you what, I usually don't say this at the beginning of an interview, and I don't want to seem like I'm partial, but I'm really enjoying the amount of smoke that comes off of this cigar is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right on. Right on. And so if you notice on the footer band, it does say Tantrum, but that's because this is the follow-up to last year's little Tantrum, the Tantrum Normal. This is the Tantrum PA, which stands for passive aggressive. But we didn't want to put PA on the band because Tantrum just fits so nice like it was.
Yeah, it does fit very nicely. And this is a limited edition. What's the production on this cigar? How many?
About 700 boxes.
Okay, and they come in boxes of 10 or?
Boxes of 28.
28.
28.
28.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that's one up from the original Tantrum, which was the original Tantrum 28 also, or is it the same?
Same count. 28 for
it is the same count,
the
okay.
Tantrum 2013. Yeah, and 28 count for the Tantrum PA.
And now, Chris and Kyle, you're not going to tell me anything more about the blend other than it's Nicaraguan.
Oh, dude, know us. We'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All you got to do is ask. I mean,
okay. I thought you were being, well,
how's a cheap date? You give him some sweet tea, he'll just get all kinds in your lap.
I thought you were being coy about the blend. I'm a stogie geek. I want to know about the tobacco inside the cigar, and then the
dude,
wrapper.
we will tell you about the blend. We will tell you about the stories of when we were blending it. We will tell you about how Chris got mistaken for Metallica on the trip when we blended it. It was epic.
We don't need to go crazy. Yeah, we don't need to go crazy. I mean, obviously, this is another one of those great cigars. It is completely different blend than the Tantrum 2013. Okay, so the original Tantrum was 4 1/4 by 44. We kept the same ring gauge and we lengthened it up. We heard a couple of requests, if you will, from the original Tantrum production. Is one, wish it was a little longer so that I could enjoy it more. And two,
my wife says that a lot. Sorry.
That's funny, right there.
And two would be that the original Tantrum was maybe just a little bit too fuerte for a lot of the masses out there. And so they wanted something that maybe they could tolerate a little bit more. I mean, personally, I think the Emilio Tiempo and the Ligeros that were in that original Tantrum are just, unbelievable. But like I said, Kyle, I mean, he's easy to give up the goods. So if you want to lay down some geek knowledge, Kyle, go for it.
Wrapper, binder, filler. What do we got, Kyle?
I'll tell you what.
Tobacco.
Tobacco. No, this it's obviously it's all Nicaraguan. This was done with Tabsa, Casa Fernandez, and Esteli. And we went to go blend it. The idea behind doing a second Tantrum, which the working name of it was, Tantrum 2. We had lots of success with Tantrum in 2013, and we thought it'd be cool. Maybe we'll make it an annual release. Not really sure. It could be kind of a thing. It'd be kind of fun. So we're working on Tantrum 2, and I was like, okay, dude. I was telling Chris, I was like, okay, we got to make it different, but the same. It's got to be different, but it's got to be the same. And Chris is like, that's like the dang dumbest thing you've ever said. And I'm like, no, it's not the dumbest thing ever said. It's got to be different, but it's got to be the same. It's got to be a completely different blend. It's got to stand on its own, but it's got to remind you of the original Tantrum. So we didn't want to just say, hey, we made the same blend, which we couldn't because the tobaccos are limited, but same blend, we just made it longer. We didn't want to do that at all. So we went down to Nicaragua, worked on this, and as far as wrapper, binder, and filler, everything in this cigar is Corojo, save 1/2 leaf of Criollo.
A half leaf.
Half leaf. I mean, to get the complexity you get in this cigar and the roller coaster as far as strength and where the passive aggressive part of this the name of this cigar came from was crazy to us because it is a homage to Chris, the Corojo cowboy. This is, 97% Corojo.
Mm-hmm. So now, what is a half leaf means? It goes through the entire length of the cigar, but it's just a half of a leaf in the filler.
Yep,
that's cool.
You sir are correct.
That would be correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's crazy because we go down there, we blend it, and obviously when you go down and blend, the cigar is wet, and you're blending as much as you can, and to try to get it as awesome as you can through that whole dynamic of it being, wet tobacco. And obviously it's not married together or anything like that because it hasn't set very long. So you get as close as you can. And when we come across something, I mean, we're pretty animated, I guess. So we get a little crazy. They call us Dos Gringos down there. Dos Gringos Locos, which is cool. I'm like, dude, we could go start like a taco chain or something and call it that, and it would be epic.
Dos Gringos, I like it.
Although
Locos.
You do have a pretty bitchin' nickname from Arsenio. Arsenio has dubbed Senor Kyle Caliente. Caliente. So that's an affectionate term of endearment that the master blender down there that works with all that awesome Aganorsan tobaccos. So he sees him, Caliente! Oh! Mimigo! And, you know, it's all hugs and kisses, Cuban spit being slobbered all over the place. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So now,
didn't mean to get all intimate on you.
I had asked our interpreter how you said man crush in Spanish.
Yeah, nice. So you said this was 97% Corojo?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what to you, if you had described to someone who was learning about tobacco, what are the flavor characteristics of Corojo, and maybe some of the Corojo leaves that you chose for this cigar?
Well, one of the things that draws me to the Corojo is, you've heard me say it before, and I'll continue to say, you know, the Corojo leaf that they have down there with the 98 seed, 99 seed, you know, I mean, this is just, it gives you that Nicaraguan thing, that little bit of twinge and tweak and spice in that nose that you get out of that particular leaf, and that's something that just completely draws me to it. So I tend to be more of a larger, bigger, bolder palate in flavor profiles, while Kyle can just, I mean, his palate is unbelievable. He can get down to the minutia and the nuances and really get down, you know, in the microscopic level. To me, I'm all about that Corojo because you get that Nicaraguan, you know, spice through the nose and that tingle that comes through there, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I just thought of, bro. You know what we're like. You know that movie that just came out that the Indian people like moved to France or whatever, and they set up a restaurant like right across the street. That's what it's like, man. You're like the Indian people. I'm like the old lady.
Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about, but you are like an old lady in a lot of respects.
Dude, I'm wearing a sweater.
Look at you're wearing your
sweater.
He's all
I got
cold.
a tissue stuffed up my sleeve.
And I mean, I'm in a t-shirt. He's all over there. He's got his beanie on. He's got a little heater underneath the desk y'all can't see.
No, I don't.
You are like an old lady. That's awesome. Good on you.
So
ladies cook good.
You guys had another release, the FHK. Tell us a little about that.
Go ahead, Kyle. I was talking a little bit there.
Okay, sorry, I can't see Chrissy. I just see his.
Yeah, I think my internet might be a little slow up here on the ranch. That's why I cut my video off, so I can hear y'all. But keep rocking.
Cool. Well, FHK was a really cool cigar. That you know, typically we're Nicaraguan guys, so we go down and we work with Nicaraguan tobacco, and that's what we've studied and focused on. And we wanted to kind of branch out. I use an analogy of cigars in the music industry a lot, and you know, it's like the band. You don't want to be the band that all their songs sound the same. You know, you want to show your diversity and the artistry and everything else, but still bring that Ezra Zion quality to a cigar. And so what we did with FHK was let's branch out and use other countries' tobacco. So it's got a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, an Indonesian binder, and Brazilian Matafina and Nicaraguan filler. Mm-hmm. And when we blended it and everything else, I'm tasting flavors that I'm not used to tasting in a cigar, which I dig. As long as it's balanced and the finish is clean and it, you know, meets all the rubrics that we have, you know, for quality and what we want and like in a cigar. But it was a different animal, and I was like, I'm the lexicon of descriptive words you use in a cigar. It wasn't quite enough with the FHK. I mean, you typically go to, you know, it's leathery, it's creamy, it's pencil lead, I guess some people, you know, it's barnyardy, you know, cream, the typical kind of things like that. And I just had to, you know, say, dude, it tastes like malty beer. It's what the FHK tastes like to me. It tastes like malty beer. And so when we put that cigar out, and people started to review it and smoke it, and you know, we were sitting in with the retailers, sampling the cigar to them and just hanging out. And I was always curious to ask them, you know, I want to give you a new cigar. and I want you to smoke it and just give it about 5 minutes smoking it, and then tell me what you taste in the cigar. Without fail, every single one of them would be searching for the words to try to describe the flavor, and inevitably they would say it's kind of like a microbrew or almost like a beer, and I'm like, brown ale. It's like exactly. And so that's like the beer cigar. It's it's just got that malty, almost hoppy. It's crazy. It's eclectic. It's not like any cigar I've ever tasted before. But I'll get on these kicks where I'll smoke one cigar and I get like addicted to it for 2 weeks or a month or something. And I did that with FHK. I smoked through my whole stash, and then I got some more of them maybe a couple of months later. And I'd been smoking Eminence and I've been smoking Tantrum PA and everything else. And I relit it back up, and I was like smoking it for the first time all over again. And I was like, oh my gosh, this tastes so much like beer, like microbrew, like brown ale. It's just crazy good. It's like a creamy, malty beer. So it's a very, very cool cigar. I mean, people should smoke it. What can you do? Don't take my word for it.
Now, do you recommend that they pair it with a beer, or it doesn't matter, or do what they want?
If you do pair it with a beer, the level of awesome that you would be able to register would be like beyond that chart that you would, if you were to graph it. It's amazing. Yes, do pair it with beer. It's absolutely perfect.
I like that.
I definitely see it. I could definitely see it with a beer.
I like to pair cigars with beer, and ones that pair really well with beers are hard to find. So.
Oh, Coop, you smoked it. We were smoking at IPCPR at Circle Bar.
Yeah, and
Vegas.
That's exactly. I mean, I remember when you didn't tell. I remember when we smoked it. You let me kind of lead you, and I couldn't. When you would try, I couldn't come up with the name malt. And I remember when I came finally, somehow I got to the name malt, and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. Yep.
No, Coop. It took Coop maybe what? He's being humble. It took him maybe 7 minutes. He's like, it tastes like this. I'm like, dude, you're exactly right, dude. You're a ninja. You're a palate ninja.
Will's an animal.
It was. I tell you, it had a lot of complexities and subtleties to it too. You definitely got, like, you could tell there was a lot of different types of tobacco that went in there, but they weren't muddled. They all really worked well in harmony, the flavors, which I liked about it.
Yeah, and that's probably the highest compliment we can get on a cigar, is that it's not muddled, it's harmonious, it's balanced, and the finish is clean. Yeah. Because gotta blend for a clean finish.
Gotta be clean.
It's gotta be clean, and then you gotta respect it.
Yeah. I would also submit, though, that with the beer pairing with that FHK, I really enjoy that cigar. First thing in the morning, a good stout cup of coffee, a nice espresso, and it marries and pairs with that really well. It's something that folks that have come to know our cigars and you kind of get put into a pigeonhole a little bit. Yeah, that's very Ezra Zion-ish. I could smoke a Tantrum and realize it's coming from Ezra Zion. I could smoke a Jamais Vu and Eminence and realize that it's coming from Ezra Zion. But the FHK is truly just so far out of that palate profile, that flavor profile that a lot of folks have kind of come to know us. And I mean, it was a risk, going outside of your comfort, but it sure did come out nice. And it's a great cigar. We blended it to the 744, and it's round. It's not pressed, and man, that thing just came out with flying colors. It's a sleeper. I think that a lot of folks would get a hold of it, and they might think, it's a good cigar, but as they, give it some time, they're going to really understand the nuances behind it and the flavors.
We have an expression on Stogie Geeks when we look at a Vitola in a line that really stands out above the others. We call it the bell of the ball. And that 7x44 was definitely the bell of the ball in my book with the FHK.
That's funny. I was just looking at the sizes going.
That's what people call Chris, too. That's interesting you say that.
He's the bell of the ball. Right?
I guess I'm the right size. Thank you very much.
See what I did there?
Take my hat off to y'all right there.
But I can't see you because you're out in Timbuktu, BFE, Texas, with no internet.
Yeah,
hey,
Chris,
I'm lucky
can you
just to be on here.
Chris, if you could try re-enabling your camera, I'll transition to the next question, but we can't. We like to see you. So.
There we go. All right, we'll see how long it rocks.
See, and once again, Stogie Geeks know the technology.
We are the geeks.
So, hey, Cowboy, why don't you push that button? Yeah, you're welcome.
Exactly. Maybe it'll allow me to shut Kyle off, and then that way I won't have to worry about shutting myself. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
So you guys did 2 shop exclusives. Tell us about those.
We did
2.
You know, we have a.
I'm counting collective as one of them. I guess,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Chris.
Wait, what was that?
I was counting collective as one of the shop exclusives, and then the other one was the one for
Yeah.
Lone Star.
Yeah, well, I'll
That's
speak
fair.
about the Lone Star, and Kyle can take collective since that was his brainchild. But a great friend of ours, Steve Parker, you know, has a few shops here in the North Dallas area. You know, he's probably one of the lounges, you know, in the top 1 or 2 lounges that we spend the most time in. You know, he's a brother in the Lord, he's a brother in the Leaf, and he's just an all-around good dude. If anybody has ever, you know, been in that man's presence for more than 2 hours, he just has an infectious personality that you just can't help but be drawn to. And you know, he's a great Ezra Zion fan, and so, you know, it just as all its store exclusives happen, it was hanging out, smoking a cigar, doing an event at his place, and after the event went out to eat afterwards, and he just, you know, guys, what are we gonna have to do? What, you know, I want to have an exclusive. And so looks like the internet's still kicking me around. I apologize, Paul. But you know, it was one of those things that, you know,
Hillbilly.
It started with a post-event dinner and, you know, talking and everything else, and then the blending project, he hit us at the right time. We were going back down to finalize a few blends. Kyle and I put our heads together, you know, got with Steve and figured out what his flavor profile was and where he wanted to go with this, because he does have another store cigar, and so he wanted it something completely different. And it's a great cigar. I mean, that cigar, he's got a great price point on that. We were able to negotiate some great prices on tobacco for him. He's got a great logo, a great band on that thing. I mean, he's just as much as part of that as we are. He's a huge fan of the Aganorsan tobaccos. So, you know, that's
Hey,
awesome.
we didn't say where we made it. Jeez, man, shut
Hey, I just said
Shut
what he's a fan of. I didn't give out anything. Don't get sideways. He's a huge fan of Aganorsan tobaccos, and he's a huge fan of other tobaccos as well. But, you know, it's a great cigar. If you haven't had a chance to do it, he ships. So, you know, just Google up Lone Star State Cigar Company in Plano, Texas, and it'll come up, and you can contact him. You can give him a call. He'll ship you a 5-pack. He'll ship you 1 cigar, a bundle, however you want to do it. And I encourage everybody, you know, it's just another way for us to be able to support the local tobacconists, the B&Ms that are out there on the front lines, you know, in the trenches, and, you know, that we can come alongside them.
It's called the SP3, correct?
Yep.
Yes, it is. The SP3, and that is in honor of Stephen Parker III, which is Stephen Parker's son. So
Nice.
It's a, you know, when you have a, you know, anytime you bring a cigar to market, you have a certain weight on your shoulders. But then when you sit down and you talk to a man and he says, I want to do this cigar, this and that and everything else, and then he tells you why he wants to do it and what he wants to name it, I mean, it's just like somebody just threw a ton of bricks on your shoulders, because you're just saying, man, this thing has got to stand up to this man who, you know, I mean, he, you know, his son is the apple of his eye, everything on this earth, you know, and so that's a huge weight, a huge burden. But, you know, according to him, we nailed it. So, you know, thank you very much to the wonderful tobaccos and the wonderful folks that helped bring it to market, which, you know, we can't go into a lot of details about any of that, but as long as he's happy with it, he says it's well worth the name, SP3.
And last I checked, that was the 3 out of the top 5 best-selling cigars in all of their shops were SP3s, just different Vitolas and that. So that's pretty legit.
great
it's a
story.
really,
That's a
really
great
good
story.
smoke.
Yeah.
You know, when you could get a shop exclusive and it just becomes one of your top sellers, and I've seen a lot of retailers, you know, bring in these cigars, and they really struggle sometimes. And there's some great blends they're getting too. But now on top of that, he's able to say it's one of his best-selling cigars. It's a testament to everyone there.
Yeah.
So are you guys
absolutely.
planning more store exclusives?
Yeah, I mean, we're not opposed to it. It's, you know what? Here's the thing: is that it's like Chris was saying, it's so much pressure, because if we put out a cigar as Ezra and it sucks, well, then that's on us, and we just go, man, you know, we totally missed it, you know. But if you're making it for somebody else, and it's like, hey, I totally thought you guys were going to be awesome, and you know, you come in here and you bring me this, and then it, you know, just fizzles out, and you're like, oh, dude, you feel like you let somebody else down. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, dude, and we got to make sure. So we're not against it, but I mean, it's you do a lot of soul searching, you do a lot of praying, you do a lot of, I mean, it's like double the pressure. So to answer your question, yes, we will do more of those, because we're men about it.
Of course. Because you have the beard and the whole
Stiff upper
Duck
lip.
Dynasty look going on.
That's right.
Stiff upper lip. Stiff upper lip. Kyle can tell you about Collective, since that was one of his brainchilds right there.
Yeah, I mean, Collective is, you know, one of the 5 cigars we released this year. It's crazy that this year's already just about gone, but yeah, 5 cigars, and Collective was the second one we did, and basically just kind of had an idea of wanting to do something that would, a micro batch cigar. Didn't make a whole heck of a lot of them, but pay homage to just what we're doing right now. You know, online, you know, technology-driven cigar community and camaraderie. It's changed the industry. You know, the industry isn't the same as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, definitely not. But having that communication beyond just, you know, maybe the friend across town who smokes cigars, which is still great. But now we're really a global community, and we can talk and share cigars and share our, you know, pairings or, you know, whatever. But just that whole cool, I guess, fraternity that is the cigar industry now. It's all been because of technology and social media and online media like this. So we wanted to do a cigar to pay homage to that. But for us specifically with Ezra is very much a social media driven company, and really the dynamic of the technology and the benefit to the industry is, I think, that it's allowed guys like us, you know, little guys like us, to spread the word and let people hear about their cigar. There's brand awareness, and they go out and they try it and hopefully have a good experience with it. But to me, it's created a boutique cigar renaissance. I mean, there's so many new companies coming out with so many great cigars out there. And I mean, anytime Chris and I go to a shop, the first thing we do once we say hi to the owner and the guys who work there and everything else is we go into that Hemi and see what they've got, because we're Stogie geeks too, first and foremost. I mean, we are just all about it. And so it's been a cool thing. So Collective was a cigar project that we wanted to do to really say, you know, thank you, hat tip to that, and do it a little bit different. And so there's a QR code on there. Our thought was, you know, you're smoking the cigar, you scan it, there's a video, you know, pop-up thing that comes up on your phone. And the thought was, you know, we could sit there and you can watch us smoking the cigar with you from, you know, the first light all the way down to the nub. And it would just be a cool thing. You could tweet it, you could post it, and not that you can do that anyway, but just, you know, just to kind of put it first and foremost up front that, I mean, this is something that we want to definitely drive conversation and to let you know, like, hey, this wasn't always like this. You know, this is a really cool thing that we get to be a part of, because we live, you know, in this time in human history. So that was Collective. It's got a really cool San Andreas wrapper. It's very much like a Corojo, but it's still San Andreas. It's got medio tiempo and all Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's also a very unique tasting cigar to me. It tastes like chai, tea, leather, dark coffee. Coop was on the launch show, and Coop said it was good, so I'm like, that's all I need to hear. Coop said it was good.
Yeah, and that wrapper is amazing. It's that, you call it a Cafe Claro wrapper, right? It's something it's a different wrapper that hasn't really been used before, correct?
Yep.
That's correct. Yep.
It goes through a special process that we're not allowed to talk about, but it's pretty legit. I mean, there's times when it's on the table, and when blending and we're setting out the tobaccos, we're using ones that come from bales, and I mistake it all the time for Corojo, reaching for it. I'm like, oh shoot. It's very limited, but it's an amazing wrapper leaf.
Yep.
Now you did another cigar for Blessed Leaf. called Kairos, which I really enjoyed it. That was a spitfire of a cigar. It had some real punch to it, which I didn't expect. Can you talk about the Kairos a bit?
I'll popcorn back to Chris on the Kairos. You thought it was strong, Coop, for real?
I thought it was a stronger cigar. Yeah,
I thought it was creamy, man.
No, I liked it.
It's definitely got it.
It was creamy. It was creamy, but it had some punch to it. I mean, I just felt it was a cigar that it was deceivingly strong, but it was very flavorful. It didn't assault the palate, so to speak, the strains.
Right. Yeah, but the wrapper on it, that Corojo wrapper, it's so like creamy and golden. And you're just like, oh, mwah, mwah. It's just so inviting. You're thinking, I'm just gonna have. It almost looks like a Connecticut. But then you light it up, and it's very creamy and everything else. But I'm telling you, it will sneak up on you.
Yes,
it will sneak up on you, man.
That's what surprised me when and it was it was really good. And like you said, it had a nice finish on that cigar too. Like you said, it was creamy, but yeah, it snuck up on me, that cigar. And I've smoked a few of them, so.
Yeah, it's a great cigar. I mean, excuse me. That was also very limited run as far as that goes. And as you all aware, Kyle is the senior pastor of Blessed Leaf, and that's one of the things that God's always put on his heart. And to be able to make a cigar and bring it to market, and again, just completely utilizing technology to do it. It's not available in stores. It was launched on the blessedleaf.com. It is exclusively sold through Delaware Cigars and Cigar Federation. That cigar is a phenomenal blend. I mean, that's one of those that when Kyle finally he did the very last tweak, we were working on it, and I remember it, and we were sitting at the table, and he just no, it's good. No, I just need this, and he just one tweak, and then he handed it over. And I literally stood up. If you remember, Kyle, I stood up, and it was pouring rain outside in Miami because we had finalized this blend in the Casa Fernandez factory in Miami. They had shipped up the tobaccos for us because we were working there stateside, and I just immediately took it outside. So now I'm walking down this, industrial parking lot and everything else. It's pouring rain, cigar is getting saturated, and I'm just engrossed in the cigar. But it's a phenomenal cigar. That leaf is. The wrapper is just unbelievable. It's amazing. Here again, just another hat tip to the wonderful tobacco that comes out of Aganorsa. But it's a very special cigar, and it was very special for everybody that was a part of it. When we explained what we were going to do with that cigar and how we were going to use that in this industry, I mean, from working with the blenders, working with the the rollers, it was all done in Miami with the Class 7 rollers. So these are all, immigrants from Cuba, and we're, hearing stories from where they came from and the freedoms and the liberties that they have now, and their faith and their walk. I mean, it truly is just an amazing cigar, just in story in and of itself. But to smoke it and all the little nuances that Kyle put in with the designing of the band, and the little subtleties that he put into that thing, it's a dang good cigar, man. It's by far one of the proudest cigars that I think that we brought to market.
I have kind of a technical question for you guys. So I would imagine that you smoke the individual filler components separately. How do you determine what kind of binder and wrapper will go on that? Do you sample the binder and wrapper?
Trial and error.
Yeah, but do you sample the binder and wrapper separately, or do you choose your filler tobaccos first and then put some binder and wrapper on it and then kind of sample from there, or is it kind of a mixed bag?
Typically,
it's well, I'll tell you my thing, and Kyle can get on his. For us, there is no rhyme or reason. Traditionally people will say, you start from the inside and you work your way out, or you start with a wrapper and you work your way in. The reality is there's times when we go down there and we think, man, we're just going to hit this wrapper and we're just going to get busy with it. And we're just going to
get
build
jiggy
everything
with this,
underneath
what we're going to do.
And inevitably we find ourselves working the bales, and And finally, when we get the tobaccos out on the tables and everything else, and you're just, doing the, individual rolls. The next thing you know, you got like 5 or 6 little, duos, and you're all trying to put them all together and everything else. I mean, we've gone down there with the plan, and I can tell you assuredly, not one time has it ever followed the plan.
Yeah.
It just never has. Never has.
I mean, we literally are 2 gringos that just really, really are probably a little bit too in love with cigars and tobacco, that get to play in these amazing tobacco aging rooms and the storage areas and barns and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, if you went down there and had access to be able to smoke all this stuff, what you would do? That's what we do. I mean, we're a little out of control, which is cool. But like Chris said, I mean, we'll literally be holding a bunch of little rolled up leaves, and I'll try to blend it. And you start smoking, kind of getting a rough idea of a blend, and you're trying to. There's all these 5 different cigars, little mini cigars sticking out. You're trying to pass back and forth to each other, and you're swapping spit. It's totally gross, but it's when you. I mean, literally, you can go to one bale. And I can't roll them because they won't stay lit. But we have somebody who will roll a little. It looks like a little backwoods, actually.
Yeah.
And smoke it. And the tobacco that Aganorsa has. And see, there's this. I'll put their business on the street a little bit. Paul, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm going to put it out there. There's the tobacco that they show you. Okay. There's a tobacco you go and hey, I want to see the tobacco. Oh, sure. Look at all this tobacco, and it's huge barn. Oh my goodness. Look at all these bales. It's beautiful. I just want to roll around on it. It's so awesome. Okay. But then there's the back room that they don't tell you about, okay, where they take all the prime stuff, all the stuff that's just a cut above. That's just like amazing. And after many times down there, after many dinners, after many bottles of Florida Cognac, you finally and having a barbecue at the Cuban house, you finally get access to the back room. But then we find out that there's a back room. And oh my goodness, and that's we finally got to that back room, and you can literally smoke 1 leaf of this stuff. And I'm like, you can make a cigar out of that. I can taste 5 different flavors in this 1 leaf. I'm totally satisfied. It's completely balanced. It's absolutely amazing, oily, beautiful tobacco. And it's 1 leaf that you're going to use for a binder. It's crazy.
It is. I find it very interesting. I just did a blending seminar, and I was amazed at, like, I always thought in general, like, you get 1 leaf from 1 plant and that's 1 flavor, and then you got to add another leaf from another plant and give you a different flavor. But you smoke those Paritos and you're like, there's a lot of complexity just in this 1 tobacco leaf, and that just makes your job of blending so much more complex. And I really tip my hat to you guys for it, and everyone who blends cigars. Well, it's just amazing.
And it's one of those things that, I mean, that's the joy that you get in blending a cigar, And I heard somebody tell me, well, there's not much innovation going on, as far as tobacco goes. You grow it, you age it, and and that's completely wrong. These guys that are working in the fermentation rooms and the aging rooms and the processing and everything else, they are always trying to innovate. They're always trying to change. I mean, Cafe Claro, right? That wrapper we were talking about earlier, Coop. That's one of those things that we wouldn't have had access to had we not been in such good relationship with Arsenio to sit there and grab Kyle by the arm and say, caliente, let me show you something over here. Let me show you that I'm working on over here.
Scooching. And I'm like, I know those words.
Yeah,
I remember those from high school.
No talking about this, but try this. And like I said, you always go down there. Every well-laid plan has been laid to rest within the first, 10 minutes of working the bales. It's gone.
Exactly.
It's cool. You answered actually one of my questions, which was about the relationship with Casa Fernandez. And, one of the things that I just, for guys, I hate to use the word gringos, but they have really given access to folks like you some really good tobacco, and you taste it in the final product. And, I'm not knocking any other factories, but a lot of other factories aren't doing that. So I'm a big fan of what Paul, Eduardo, and Arsenio are doing. I think they've had a stellar year with not just your blends, but a lot of blends. There's some great tobaccos, and that was a great insight you just gave me into that. So you answered one of my questions perfectly.
Those guys are just, prince of men. The hospitality that Eduardo provides you know, for his, you know, his resources. I mean, that man has resources just unbelievable globally. And, you know, to be able to work with him and have him roll up his sleeves and come alongside you and you know, and a master blender like Arsenio and his son Gerardo and, you know, Juan Carlos, you know, and Jacinto, the GM down there, and with Paul. I mean, we truly wouldn't be where we are had we not had the, you know, obviously the tobacco, but also the mentoring and just the, you know, just the opportunities that those guys have given us. I mean, in turn, you know, make no mistake, they don't do business with everybody, but I will tell you, they're just unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't tell you, you know, enough good things about them. Yeah,
I got to know Paul quite well this year, and he's an amazing guy. He's hearing, and he'll pick your brain too a lot on things, which I found real interesting. And he asks for honest feedback at least, so it's he's an interesting guy to get to know for sure. And we're talking about Paul Palmer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Paul Palmer. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll jump on that bandwagon too. I mean, first and foremost, these guys' commitment to quality is just, I mean, unmatched. They are crazy about the quality. They are freaking OCD crazy about the quality, first and foremost. But then they take it to another level, my opinion, is in that they're always trying to get better. They're always challenging themselves. They're always wanting to learn and like you know, asking people, you know, and listening and taking that feedback and applying it. How can we make this better? How can we get even better? How can we push the envelope? And it's cool to be able to work with people like that who actually, I mean, live that passion every single day. Because when you go down there, you're like, let's do something really special. They're all fired up about it. It's not like, you know, we make cigars all year long. You know, we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. You know, it's and that you can get a little lukewarm. These guys aren't. I mean, they're fired up. In fact, sometimes Chris and I will go outside because I mean, you're smoking all day long. You're in this little, you know, confined areas. You got to get some fresh air. You know, so we'll go outside and like take a minute and talk about this and let the palate rest because I mean, you're smoking some seriously strong stuff. Your palate starts to get a little raw. You know, so it's like I need to take like Cinco here and go outside and literally within 5 minutes, Arsenio come outside and basically tell us through the interpreter, "Hey, get back in here. Let's smoke some more." I'm just like, dude, give me some room, man.
I love it.
Give me some room.
Mas fumar.
Vamos. And I'm like, Arsenio, dude, man, cool out. How do you say chill out in Espanol? Chill outo, man. Chillado, bro. Hermano.
Oh, goodness.
But I can't say no to him, man. I can't say no to Arsenio. I love him. He's my tobacco grandpa.
He is.
That's going to be an
awesome.
I think we're going to clip that Chilado clip and replay that on the show as a sweet.
Could be an episode title.
That's great.
Chilado, man.
So what do you guys have coming out next?
I just posted
there you go.
on Instagram today of a finalized blend for 15. We're still kind of formulating our plan of attack for the next year. I will say that we worked really hard this year as far as blending, and we have some stuff in the hopper that I think is meeting the bar that we set for ourselves of always making better cigars, more refined cigars, more complex cigars. So there'll be, I think, more than one. We did 5 this year. I don't want to make it, 10. I don't want to be coming with a cigar every month or anything like that. But we've got some very, very good blends that we're very proud of to be able to share with the folks, man. And hopefully they enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed smoking the samples.
Cool. Will, did you have any closing questions?
No, I think we're good. I'll let you know that we're in the market for Stogie Geek cigars. So if you ever want to let us know, because I know you guys have great tobacco.
Say, send me an email, brother. Send me an email.
All right.
No pressure on us, right? Oh, shoot, man. Dude. See, if it's bad with the retailer, there's a handful of people in that shop that are like, yeah, those Ezra guys, man, they're a bunch of losers. But if we mess up on a Stogie Geek cigar, you tell the whole world.
Every episode, it's going to be those dudes screwed us.
No, stop. So, I don't think you guys have played 5 questions with the Stogie Geeks. last time.
Uh-oh.
I don't think we did.
Here we go.
This last time.
No, we didn't implement that last time.
Okay, so we're going to alternate, and I'm still going to ask question 4, even though Will told me not to, because that's just how I roll.
Okay.
So
Thug life.
Here we go.
Thug life.
I'm going to ask you guys questions. I'll start with Chris first, and then I'll ask Kyle, and then I'll switch the order. And I know that's probably confusing, but that's all part of 5 questions. So, Chris, 3 words to describe yourself.
3 words to describe myself.
See, I get to think about it.
Christ follower, patriot, dirt.
Kyle?
Chris took mine. No, I would say
That's 3 words. Chris took mine. Yeah, you're good.
right. See, I would say a disciple because our faith is obviously first and foremost. Or I'll just say faith. America and family.
Kyle, if you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
Serial killer, what would be my weapon? Shoot, man, you guys aren't playing, man.
No, it's a hypothetical, you know.
What would be my weapon?
This is one of the easy ones, Kyle, just so you know.
This is easy?
Yeah.
I've never thought about how to kill people before. I'm
They
sorry.
get progressively
You've really stumped me here.
They get progressively harder as we go through, and there's 5. We're only on 2.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Let Chris go. Let me think about that real
Okay,
quick.
Chris,
Yeah,
if you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
Carbon monoxide.
Okay, Kyle, he didn't give you much time.
aspartame.
Okay, so now we're back on Chris. Chris, if you were to book about yourself, what would the title be?
You have to ask that question again. I apologize.
Sorry, if you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Horse crap.
I would buy that. Kyle?
You gotta see.
Horse crap.
See, Kyle's all intellectual. That's the difference between the two of us. He's all cranial, dude, and I'm just like, keep it simple, stupid. Just
It would be called Tobacco Jesus.
Ooh,
Doesn't someone have a trademark for that? Oh.
That's awesome. Kyle,
that's what Logan used to call me until someone got offended, and then he changed it to I don't even know what. Remember Logan Lawler, Cigar Federation?
Yep.
So, Kyle, in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
Oh, first.
Ooh.
I don't do sloppy seconds, bro. No.
Oh,
First.
yeah.
I'm big spoon.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always the aggressor, definitely. In any ass grabbing session between Kyle and I'm definitely the one leading that dance.
Kyle and I, when did that come into play? That wasn't part of the question, you freak.
I see you guys have played the game before. That's excellent. It's popular.
I was
Europe.
worried they had.
You extrapolated. You weren't allowed to extrapolate.
So, Chris, choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
2 celebrities to be my parents. Clint Eastwood and Barbara Bush.
Kyle.
Daggum, these do get harder, man.
Yeah, this is the most difficult one. I will give this one to you. This one is not an easy question. I had to think about
because see,
this
here's
one.
the thing, man. I don't follow like celebrity stuff. I don't care, man. I got a life. Okay, I don't need to live vicariously through who was ever on the celebrity shows or whatever these kids are doing nowadays.
It can be.
Dude, they're not looking for excuses. They're looking for answers, bro.
Dude, I'm trying to buy myself some time. So shutty.
It can be an actor, an actress, a person from history, trying to make it easier for you, Kyle, and also buy you time so that you have time to think about it.
If it could be a person from history, man.
Yeah, like Pee Wee Herman. I mean, he can be your daddy.
So that's so nasty, dude.
That is possibly one of the worst answers I've ever heard in Pee
Yeah,
Wee
that's
Herman.
really jacked up. I would say that I would like to have my dad would be my dad actually. I got a really good dad, but I would say George Washington if we can go for history.
Sure,
that'd be cool. And then mom,
Yeah.
I guess Mrs. Washington, man, because shoot,
why not?
she seemed like a good lady.
Awesome.
And George Washington, he made whiskey, man.
That's right.
That's true.
He didn't
That's
stop trying
true.
that cherry
He did.
tree.
Oh well.
He did.
Chris and Kyle, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. So happy you could join us tonight.
Thank you.
And thank you again. And hopefully we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the opportunity. Y'all be good.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, guys.
With that, we're going to take excuse me. We're going to take a short break even. Come back, and we're going to run the Padron interview next, right?
Well, we'll do some intro. We'll bring Seth on, and we'll run the Padron interview.
Okay, sounds good. Stay tuned.
Great interview.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.